champion boxing in sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So in 2024, in Paris, France, you're going to have the Paralympics, okay? Now, I don't know how to feel about this one. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I really don't. But France is going to be hosting the first ever summer Paralympic Games, okay? In 2024, so. And I'm really not sure what to think, man. But it's going to include 22 different sports, 549 events. It will take place from 28 August to 8 September. The games are the ultimate goal for athletes with disabilities. These games offer an opportunity for sports people with motor disabilities, amputated or missing limbs, cerebral palsy, paraplegia, tetraplegia, hemiplegia, dwarfism, etc., sensory disabilities, visual impairment, or intellectual disabilities to achieve sporting excellence and to inspire and entertain the world. So people with those kind of disabilities or the way they were born or those kind of challenges, right, are going to be able to participate in 22 Paralympic sports, which they're looking to make 23. Okay? Now, the 23rd sport, which people behind the scenes are working feverishly to add to the Paralympics, is boxing. Now, I'm a boxing fan, okay? I'm a boxing junkie. I believe people should be able to do what they want. And if it makes somebody who's suffering with a condition that that's preventing them from participating in the Olympics, whether you were born with a certain condition, over time you develop a condition, you lost a leg, lost an arm, lost several different limbs, or whatever the disability is, right? If you can't participate in the Olympics for those reasons, you should be able to participate in a sport that you love doing, or with your condition that you were born with, or that you developed, or that you love doing before you were unfortunate enough to succumb to whatever condition that you currently have, right? I think there should be something. But with boxing, I'm just not sure that, how safe is that, So I did a little research, man. They got people out here right now who are on boxing teams who are in wheelchairs or who are amputees. There's a guy who was in the Marines, boxing since the age of 5, in the Marines, serving his country, lost a leg, came back, and just, struggling with BS VA appointments and seeing psychologists and all the other stuff. Excuse me. That, veterans can go through, man. Not all the time do you want to go and sit down and talk to somebody who is rushing you through the questions because they have to, get this document filled out. So you're sitting out for an appointment where you think you're going to talk to somebody who's going to help you deal with whatever it is, your mental health issues or whatever it is. And they're more or less working against the clock. So right when you get comfortable in the discussion, then the meeting's over because boom, they got to push you out and bring the next one in. So you can end up getting frustrated as a veteran with those processes and not want to go. And now you find yourself, severely depressed, miserable, and needing an outlet. And for this Marine guy, his outlet was boxing because he was boxing since he was 5 years old. But then he came back, he was in the Marines, he got hurt, lost a limb, and everywhere he was going to try to box, they were like, no, because your disability. So he was actually allowed to get a boxing license, the first ever amputee to get a boxing license and box. So he's actually boxing as an amputee. And I think that's amazing. Now, how far can he go? Who knows? But he's doing what he loves. And this man, and I understand, to go into a boxing gym and just get lost in there, especially when you love a sport, man, sometimes 3, 4, 5 hours go by, you haven't eaten, you're just drinking water, you just in between exercise and working out. I understand how that happens. And I'm glad he was able to find something for himself. But there's a big push to get boxing in the Paralympics. But I can understand why it doesn't matter if they get 1 million petitions. I understand why it hasn't made it in there, but they're pushing to get it in there for 2024. If not, they're looking at 2028. But just, what do you guys think about that? I mean, they would, I guess, match guys up. If you lost a leg and someone else lost a leg, they would match them up like that. If they're in wheelchairs, the same weight and everything. I guess the only difference would be, everything would be the same. I think the only difference would be if you have someone with one arm, the other person would have one arm, or lost a leg, the other person would have lost a leg and probably have, the artificial limb. Or if you're in a wheelchair, the other person in a wheelchair. But you have to be the same weight. So I think it'd be a couple, contrasts, but about 80% of it would be pretty much what we expect when it comes to boxing and boxing matches. Sure, there'd be a weigh-in and everything else. I just see somebody, I just don't, I just did a video about the triangle theory in boxing, and about the 3 points on the triangle is where you want to be to keep your opponent neutralized and at a disadvantage, right? And you do that with a lot of footwork, leg movement. If a guy's in a wheelchair and this man is trying to roll from point to point, how the hell are you going to create angles? How are you going to, I just see them both rolling up on each other and being right there in the line of fire and just having a crash up in the ring. Like, I'm just not seeing, I guess I'd have to see it, right? But I think if they're going to have blind football, boccia, I don't know what that is, goal ball, para archery, para athletics, para badminton, they got para canoeing, paracycling track, para equestrian. This is tripping me out. Para judo, para powerlifting, para rowing, para swimming, para table tennis, para taekwondo, para triathlon, shooting, para sport, sitting volleyball, wheelchair basketball. I know about basketball. Wheelchair fencing, wheelchair rugby, wheelchair tennis. So out of all of those I read, right, I could see about 3 of them. But the other ones, you can almost chuckle to yourself because you're trying to see how in the world can they make that happen. How can they execute that? I'm not going to go back through the list because I don't want to be disrespectful, because some of that stuff, if I laugh at it, it's not because I'm making fun of it, but just because it's beyond my comprehension. How the hell is somebody going to do, para canoeing? I'm just trying to envision that, but I understand it. Just trying to think about, I'm always out with my sons, fishing, swimming, all up in the bush, right? In a canoe, right? You got to have balance. Now me, I'm not 190, 200 pounds no more. When I used to box, I boxed at 160, right? But 205 is a sweet spot. Like that's the weight that's gonna get me to Hollywood. I'm 250, 255, okay? So I could afford to lose about, I'd say 50 pounds, okay? So when I'm in a canoe or a kayak, and if my fat butt isn't balanced in there right, that shit, it flips over, man. Like, it's very uncomfortable. But I'm sure, once you get in there and you're used to doing it, it's normal. But I'm just trying to imagine someone who, and see, I'm so ignorant to this that, I don't know. I would think that if your body isn't equal, how can you balance? You know what I'm saying? So when you look at these sports, and if they're gonna have sports like this, why can't they have boxing? Why can't they have boxing? But you look at these images I posted, you can see there's a couple guys in wheelchairs, and then up here in the top right corner, the guy is actually he has an artificial leg, has a prosthetic on, and he is boxing. So this is something new to me. I never even knew this existed. But I'm sure if it takes place, I'm sure there are a lot of people against it. I'm sure. But if they manage to get the pass and they put that in to the Paralympics, I'm sure this is going to make headlines. And there's going to be a lot of outrage and people like just almost thinking that the guys and girls participating in the sports are victims. They're not victims, all right? Because they're choosing to do that. And this is something that they love, you know what I'm saying? So I think we should allow them, but we definitely got to watch it because you hate to see somebody, whether they're in a wheelchair or whatever, they get caught real clean and get knocked out. Man, I'm going to go ahead and leave that alone, okay, because I'm just not. I see these guys here, and I think that's their passion. I think they should be able to do it, but I'm just out here trying to understand what do you do if someone gets hit real hard and knocked out, get dazed, and they're in their wheelchair, or they can't maintain their balance. You would think those could be the concerns. I mean, those probably could be the reason why it's not in here yet. But people are working on it, man, and they may get their way. Because to be honest with you, if this sport is about giving opportunities to people who are disabled, and boxing makes these people happy, man, give it to them. That's all I see. But I can't help but sit back, man, and just say, yo, how is it going to work? Especially when you're talking about and they're not being specific with the boxing, right? But then they have blind football. How are you going to have blind football? You see, so I need to do my due diligence and get spun up on this. But if you can have blind football, you should have damn boxing in the Paralympics. That's my 2 cents. But let me know what you think. I think everyone deserves to be happy. And I'd rather be out there boxing, if I was an amputee, if I was in a wheelchair, because I know what that, just doing the workouts, I know what that does for me. I love it. If I was these guys, I'm sure I feel the same way. I'd rather do that than go sitting up there and somebody with a PSYD or somebody with a doctorate in psychology or whatever, the mental health people out there, man, who really, half of them don't give a shit anyway, and listen to them sit there and try to tell you what's wrong with you, or, you need to figure out, find something that you do, think a positive thought. Man, get out of here with that crap. Just let me do what makes me happy. And if this is what it is, especially for anyone, but, especially for like veterans, man, like that guy, the Marine, let him do it. Let him do it. Because, man, you can't leave your mind behind, and you go to war, you end up in a situation where you end up losing your leg. Man, you can't, your mind is always with you, man, so if this helps you to get your mind off of things, to me, they should allow it, especially on a level commensurate with like the Olympics, to get these guys the recognition and get them to feel, like they're somebody again, like they are contributing to society again, because a lot of them need that. And I understand, firsthand on how that can make you feel when you no longer feel like you're contributing to society after you've done something for so long. So I hope they figure this out. But just, be smart and keep it safe. That being said, shout out. That being said, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Shout out to all the veterans. And as always, I'm in the breeze.